Good day, everybody. We're here again. It's State of the Nation Nigeria on the Atlanta Discuss channel. That's what we do, talk about Nigeria. Nation building. Nigeria needs help. It's common knowledge. We can't live in denial. We can't play the ostrich. The country that has the largest concentration of Black people on the face of the earth clearly needs a surgery, a serious one. And we have to be introspective when we deal with this. It's just not enough to criticize, to say, the leadership is not doing this. There's equally a followership problem. There are issues of faith also. Nigeria has lost more Christians in the last 2-3 years than any country in the world. These are international statistics. It doesn't mean Muslims are not being killed, but the question is wherein lies our leaders, our faith leaders, our religious leaders, how can a country that has so much penchant for Christ, for Allah, so to say, be in such a rudderless and morally derelict situation? So to deal with the topic today, the topic is faith conscious and country, how to heal a broken nation. And Nigeria is an example this time around. So your guest is as good as mine. Today we have Reverend Father George Ehusani as our guest. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, and thank you, viewers. Thank you, Ade, for the good work that you are doing. You are making your own contribution to Nigeria. And may God hear our prayers, and may these efforts that those of you in the diaspora are making and those here, may it eventually amount to a better Nigeria for all of us and our children. Amen.
I say a big amen to that too, a big amen. So, Nigeria is clearly a broken nation. Do you see this primarily as failure of leadership or just failure of a moral conscience? What do you think, sir?
Let me begin. I will answer this question, but let me begin by making a comment about what you said. This whole argument of government, when some Christians, especially in the Middle Belt, I'm from the Middle Belt. Yep. I'm from Kogi State. I'm from the Middle Belt. Yep. I am familiar with the situation. When some Christians talk and some use genocide or Christian persecution, they say, oh, Muslims are also dying. And in fact, even more Muslims die. Our people have a saying. I used to hear from the Yoruba people, Gangbari, Pahausa, Kusejo. Now, if you have your own people kill your own people, it doesn't generate the kind of sentiments and emotions when the people of the other village come to kill your people. Right? If your people, the people of your village, kill the people of your village, interpretation is different. It does not generate the kind of emotions when the people of another village invade your village to come and kill your people. So when Christians in the Middle Belt are crying that we are being killed, whatever they call it, genocide, persecution, I think we need to listen to them. We need to hear their pain. There are 200 people in the water. It was between 10 and 11 p.m. These people were sleeping in their farms, and some people invaded the village and killed nearly 200 of them. Now, the last thing they want to hear is that, Muslims are also dying. The last thing they want to hear is that Fulanis are also dying. I think it's an insult to the intelligence of Nigerians, and particularly we are dishonoring the many people who have died in the Middle Belt. If Fulani people, 100 Fulani people are killed at the hands of Fulanis, the sentiments are different. But if 10 people are killed, 10 Christians, 10 thief people are killed by Fulanis, the sentiments are high. The leaders should understand this. So this song about the fact that Muslims are also being killed is very insensitive. Are they being killed by Christians? If Muslims are also being killed, are they being killed by Christians? So this is something that I have heard from a number of our leaders, and I just feel like, are these people sensible at all? Are they sensible? Because when the people of one identity, if people of one identity kill themselves, the interpretation is different than if the people of one identity kill the people of another identity. So 100,000 people of one identity can kill themselves. It is serious. It is bad. But when one identity kills 2, 3, 5 people of another identity, and especially when it is in one direction, you have Boko Haram, you have ISWAP, you have ISIS, you have Lakurawa, you have all those, and they all belong to one religion. And it is from that axis that the people who are crying in the Middle Belt are being killed. So if they call it genocide, whatever they call it, many of them have not gone to school. They have not gone to learn the distinction between persecution and genocide and whatever. All they know is that their cousins are being killed, their wives are being killed, their children are being killed unprovoked and serially. So for me, it is irresponsible of government to say, oh, more Muslims are even being killed. So what are you saying? You are saying you are incompetent, you cannot protect your people. You are saying if you cannot protect your people, which is the fundamental primary responsibility of government, why are you there? Why are you there in government when the primary of government, the security of lives and property, you cannot take care of it? As we are talking, people are still dying. As we are talking, the people of Kaduna, 400 of them in captivity, they are asking for ₦1 billion, and the bandits are warning that if the government does not pay this, they are going to kill them. So even as we are talking, people are dying. And like you said in your opening statement, if in Nigeria has the highest number of Christians that are being killed, it is something to take very seriously and worry about. I mean, the Muslims should protect their Muslims. The Muslims should be very concerned about the Muslims that are being killed. But I, as a Christian, I am concerned that any Nigerian should be killed, but I am concerned that the Christians that are being killed by those who say they are Muslims. That is a very serious issue. Those who say they are Muslim and those who have issued statements asking that you either convert or we force you to pay taxes to us, we literally enslave you. And they are carrying Islamic flag. Well, how you people sort that out within your religion is your problem. But the issue is that those that are killing our people are not Christians. So if the government cannot do something about it, then I think the people of the Middle Belt have a right to use genocide or use whatever description to express their pain. You don't go to people who are crying, people who are bereaved, who are in pain. You don't go to them and say, don't use that word. That word is not correct. Use it. No, that description is not correct. Come on. I am into trauma healing. I am a student of psychology. I teach trauma. And people who are traumatized, that is not how you heal them. You don't heal them, you don't reduce their pain by telling them that they should not describe their pain the way they feel it. I am from the Middle Belt, as I say. This thing has a long history. Some of these people have been suffering for over 100 years. There is intergenerational, multi-generational trauma that the people, that the Tiv have suffered, that the Biron have suffered, that the people of Southern Kaduna have suffered serially. So this is not something that started yesterday. It might have aggravated in the last few years to the level of Boko Haram, the level of ISIS, but the persecution of Christians, the treatment of Christians as minority who don't have a right to places of worship, who don't have a right to be appointed commissioners and governors and so on, that has been there long before independence. Let's face it, that's the truth. I mean, which Christian can be today the Vice Chancellor of Ade Balogun University in Zaria, even though most of those who built that university were Southern Christians? Which Christian today can be the Vice Chancellor of Bayero University, Kano, however qualified you may be? Which Christian can be the Ottoman Danfodio University in Sokoto? Which Christian? And these are federal institutions. Which Christian can be the Vice Chancellor of University of Technology in Bauchi or federal? These are all federal universities, but show me which one of them a Christian can be. So if Christians say they are persecuted, University of Abuja is full of professors that had to leave Ahmadu Bello University because they had no prospects. No prospect of any progress in their career if they remain in that university. So these are the things that are the precursors of today's attack on Christians. And so you cannot tell those people not to describe their pain in whatever way they can describe their pain. When the government is absent, it's not there to ensure that people get what they deserve, that a qualified Christian in Ahmadu Bello University who has paid his dues can be dean, can be vice chancellor. If the government is not able to moderate the situation and ensure people get their rights, then they can describe their pain however they want to describe their pain. So I want to put that on the table first.
It's well noted.
Then to answer your question about leadership, I am one of those, Ade.
Yes, sir.
Who say that I quote the book of Proverbs, Proverbs chapter 29, verse 18, where there is no vision, the people do perish indeed. What is vision? That vision is leadership. It is the leadership that gives the direction. It is the leadership that sets the vision. It is the leadership that sets the pace. It is the leadership that says, thus far and no further, you can't go further. It is the leadership that sets the reward systems and sanctions. It is the leadership that gives the example. I am not one of those who say, oh, the followers are also bad. But who sets the pace? Who gives the example? Look, the Bible also says, the same Proverbs chapter 29, verse 2, it says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked rule, the people groan. When the righteous are in authority, does the Bible not know that the people are also there, the followers are also there? The Bible knows that the followers are also there when it says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked rule, the people groan. So the followers all groan on account of some idiot leadership, on account of the debauchery of leadership. Now, those who want to understand this, go and read chapter 12 of 2 Kings and read about Rehoboam when he became king. The kingdom set up by David that was formalized under King Solomon. When the son of Solomon, called Rehoboam, when he became king, the book of Ecclesiasticus or Sirach, in the other people's Bible is called Apocrypha. The book of Sirach, chapter 47, says that when Solomon went to join his ancestors, the stupidest of the children of Israel ascended the throne and took over from Solomon, Rehoboam. And hell was let loose. The kingdom that was in peace, they conquered all their enemies, and they were making a lot of progress. And under Solomon, the queen of Ethiopia had to come to see a kingdom that is working excellently. That kingdom of Solomon was destroyed because the one that the Bible calls the stupidest of the children of Israel became king. And it is because of that leadership. Is it that I'm sure there were hundreds of thousands of people, but because of an idiot leadership, the leadership of debauchery, the kingdom scattered. You heard to your tents, O Israel. The expression "to your tents, O Israel," meaning everybody should just go to his own hamlet, to his own village, to his own house. We cannot have a united kingdom. It happened because of one stupid man called Rehoboam. So leadership is of supreme importance, critical importance. The history of nations have shown. You are in America, right?
Yes, sir.
Today you have a leader. America, from Abraham Lincoln till the Obama and Biden, they have had leaders. JF Kennedy, they have had leaders. America was making a lot of progress. But one leader has ascended the throne in America called Donald Trump. And he is bringing America down. with a leader, with all the good people in America. You are in America. There are excellent human beings in America, 250 million people in America, but one leader can finish you people. One leader is about to destroy America. The American empire is about to collapse, and it is on account of one idiot becoming president of America. So I say leadership is so critical. And okay, in Abuja, in Lagos, in Port Harcourt, people drive and jump red lights. You say, you see, followers are also irresponsible. But who is to ensure that there are sanctions? Is it the followers?
Leaders.
Is it the truck pusher that is to ensure that those who jump red light are sanctioned? Is it the mechanic along the road that is to ensure that if you defecate along the road, that you are sanctioned? No, it is the leadership. I was in the US only 2 weeks ago. I returned from the US only a week ago. And I was traveling between Wisconsin and Milwaukee, all those places, Collegeville, Minnesota, and so on. And the discipline on the roads. I myself, I had to warn the person who was driving me because we're a bit late to the airport. It was a place of 60 miles an hour. When he was trying to go 65, I warned him because I know the sanctions. I know the sanctions that apply in the US. I say, no, please, if it is because of me, you are going five miles above the highway recommended speed, please don't. Let's keep going at 60. Because I know that in that society, the leadership have put in place the necessary sanctions. Within 5 minutes, you will see the police with their sirens. In this country, if there is any, do we even have speed limit on any road? And I ask, is it the village nursery school teacher that is supposed to ensure that? Is it the mechanic along the road that is to ensure that? No, it is leadership. It is the mayor of the city, the local government chairman, it is the state governor that is to ensure that there is discipline in the state and make sure that there are appropriate sanctions for those who violate. In this country, still using traffic, in this country, who are those that superintend the violation of traffic regulation? The leaders themselves. They come with their motorcades and they jump red light and they push the poor people off the road. Then what do you see? When about 20 cars, there are 20 cars in their convoy, when they pass, what do you see? The next vehicle that is able to follow them follows them. You want to blame that leader, that follower? No. I say that those who insist that, followers are also bad, they are being unfair because no society has been transformed by the commoners.
Wow.
All societies that are transformed, they are transformed by the elite. When I say leadership, I don't just mean president and governor, but I mean the leaders across the board. Now, but the person who is overall leader, meaning overall leader of a state, overall leader of the country, overall leader in a university, he or she holds particular responsibility. I am executive director in my organization. There are certain things I don't take. If I say an event is beginning at 9 o'clock, I will be there at 9 o'clock. Now, everybody knows me for that. I run a chapel. Mass is quarter to 8. By 20 minutes to 8, I am on the line, ready, in the procession, ready to begin. And the people will see me, those who are going to be coming at 16 minutes to 8, 17 minutes to 8, you see them running. Because once I enter, nobody comes in. That has been my style. Once I go in and I'm starting the mass, nobody comes in. The door is locked. The door is closed. Now, that is in my own little space as a leader. I ensure that. Is it that there are no indisciplined people in Luxtera? There are, but they know that they will not enter. Of what use is this to drive from Metama towards Apo to Luxtera for mass and not be able to enter the church? They know that. Therefore, if we want discipline in this country, it's got to begin with the discipline of leadership. If we want to stop corruption in this country, it's got to begin with the people in leadership. A situation where Nigerians know that their leader has we don't know who our leader is. We have a president today that we don't know who his father was. We don't know his mother. We don't know his sister. We don't know his brother. We don't know where he went to primary school, where he went to secondary school. We heard that he went to some university in Chicago, but we don't know a classmate. We don't know a childhood friend. Come on. So we have a leadership that is shrouded in fraud. And during the period of that leadership, what do you expect in the society? Multiple fraud, serial fraud. So leadership is absolutely important. It is leadership that gives the example. Leadership is influence. Those of us who are involved in leadership training, one of the definitions we give to leadership is that leadership is influence. And that influence can be positive or negative. Positive or negative. See, 2015, when we had the election and we saw that Muhammad Buhari won the election, people thought that it is the Muhammad Buhari of 1983. Yeah. Some people were already beginning to adjust to a life of discipline. They were struggling to immediately adjust until they saw that, oh, Diabo is not around. It is not the same. It is not the same Muhammad Buhari, Diabo kind of regime. So what happened within 3 months? People relaxed. By the time they waited for Buhari, and even, is it 6 months, he couldn't even appoint his cabinet. And then when he appointed his cabinet, we saw that it's the same kind of people. And then we saw that the corruption had people just relaxed. But I must tell you, I was in Abuja, and I know that people were prepared to adjust because they thought that the person coming has pedigree for discipline.
All right.
Meaning that just one person, the influence of one person in leadership can cascade through the whole society. So this is just to make my point that I don't agree with those who are saying, the leaders are also.
I agree, actually, because one of the things we've observed in Nigeria is that we have the laws, but nobody is applying them. You understand? So there are no
sanctions. Sanctions is what, look, I traveled with an old priest in 1988 from Connecticut to Tampa, Florida.
That's a long ride.
Now, because that's a very far distance, right?
Yes.
Because it was going to take us such a long time, 2.5 to 3 days, the guy said, I was driving. The guy said, George, if you look left, you look in your mirror and you don't see police, shoot. Meaning I should go beyond the 55 or 65 on I-95, or I-93 or I-94, I should shoot. Me, who does not want my license seized. Me, who I refuse to shoot. I refuse to drive faster than the speed limit. He kept quarreling with me that it's going to take us a long time. I knew that there are serious sanctions. So I refused. Now, this is the point that if the leaders give example, our people are good followers.
I agree.
A number of people will follow.
I have a lot of questions for you. So, because time is never our friend. So, I mean, just to buttress what you said, there's a woman that retired from the Supreme Court, Justice Ogi. She said something that exactly, not the way you said it, but it's relatable. She said, one thing about Nigeria is that when you get to the top, a position, they will first study you. That's what the woman said. She was retired. She said, they'll first study if you want to do the right thing. If they say you want to do the right thing, they help you to do the right thing. But if they say you want to steal, they will even aid you. They will teach you how.
I listened to that interview. I listened to that discussion of Augie. I know Justice Augie well. I listened to her, and she described what she did in Lagos and how she brought order to that office. I listened to her.
Thank you. So, has the church in Nigeria done enough to speak truth to power, or has it been too cautious or silent? What's your take on that?
First of all, when you say church, it's a bit too amorphous.
Okay.
You can speak of church, the body of Christians, but the body of Christians don't daily work together. You have churches.
Churches.
And there's little you can do with CAN. The CAN body it can only do a little. There are a few things we can do together. The individual blocks, Catholic Church, CCN, Christian Council of Nigeria, Association of Independent Churches, then you have the Pentecostal Fellowship, and so on and so forth. These are the blocks of within CAN. And then you have the individual churches. Now, as you know, there are various interests.
Absolutely.
I belong to the Catholic Church, and I was Secretary General of the Catholic Church in Nigeria. So I was the chief scribe of the church in Nigeria for 6 years. Now, and I know the kind of work we did. I took over from Bishop Kuka.
And you were assistant for a long time also. So
I was his assistant for 6 years, and I took over from him, and I acted for 6 years. Those who are in town at that time know what we did. What we did as Catholic Church and as church, and what we did as individuals. It got to the point, those who are active in pro-democracy at that time, they know that the Catholic Secretariat was the locus of gathering, was the center where human rights people, pro-democracy, whether it is Bekor and Somkuti or Femi Falana or a lot of them, Clem Nwankwo and all those, they used to meet at the Catholic Secretariat because it was difficult to find places to meet at that time. Now, so we played our part. At that time, I published a book called The Prophetic Church, where I urged Nigerian Christians to do a number of things, the non-violent acts of civil disobedience, and so on and so forth. I outlined them in the book. The book was well publicized, and so on and so forth. And I was doing it on behalf of what you call church. We risked our life on behalf of this church to make sure that we have a better country. So people know between 1993, when the election was annulled, and 1999, when democracy came, we played very critical roles. And we continue to play the critical roles. Now, the various church bodies don't have police. So there is a limit to what they can do. They can speak. They can occasionally join people to demonstrate. Now, the next they can do is to train their people. In 2003 elections, the Catholic Secretariat of Nigeria mobilized 30,000 election observers across the country. That was the largest group. That was the largest group of election observers. Catholic Secretariat of Nigeria, I was Secretary General, 30,000 election observers. Now, our prerogative and our area of expertise is moral. To continue to call for to call leaders. You use the word conscience. To continue to remind leaders that they are accountable to the people, that they are accountable to God. To continue to point out to leaders that there's supposed to be morality in leadership. There's supposed to be ethics in leadership. To consider the common good. That leadership is governance is to take care of the people, and that the resources of the country are to be used for the people. Now, this is the responsibility of the church, and that is the area of competence of the church. I mean, to call for peace when there is trouble, when there is war, the kind of a call that Pope Leo XVI has recently made, and your president that I truly wonder, the President of America, I truly wonder his mental health, the quality of his mental health. He reacted as if Pope Francis was saying anything that as if Pope Leo was saying anything that Pope Francis didn't say, that Pope Benedict didn't say, that Pope John Paul didn't say, that Pope Paul VI didn't say, or John the 23rd didn't say. Since I was born, all the popes are daily calling for peace. And for the past nearly 50 years, the popes on January 1 each year issue a global message for peace. We call January 1 World Day of Peace, and the Pope will issue a document calling for peace and mention wherever there's war. and call the leaders of those nations to come to the dialogue table. Anyway, so that is our area of competence, to call for peace, to call for justice, to call for the concern for the common good, and so on and so forth, to call for reduction in injustice, and so on and so forth. Are Christians doing enough? No. We could do a lot more. Definitely, we could do a lot more. But what is happening today is that there is a bit of confusion. There's a bit of confusion in the sense that the politicians are working very hard to either to recruit some of the leaders. Have you forgotten the fake bishops that were paraded during the elections before the 2023 elections? There were people who are given pink color caps and costumes to wear, and they were called bishops who are helping to campaign for Tinubu to be president. So you have an effort to literally use the structures of the church, use personalities of the church, including even going for fake church persons in order to get votes. Then see what happened in Lagos in the 2023 elections. There are some of us who, after what we watched on TV about what happened in the 2023 elections in Lagos, when people, anyone who looked like an Igbo man or Igbo woman, when they were brutalized and threatened not to come out to vote because they are likely to vote for Peter Obi, when they saw that Peter Obi was winning. When that thing happened, actually, I lost some of my passion. I must tell you. I lost some of my passion because I said, where are we? How did we descend to this level? People whose grandfather were born in Lagos. Not people who were born in Lagos, people whose grandfathers were born in Lagos. People who speak fluent Yoruba, who grew up in it, but because somebody somewhere knows that his ancestors are from Onitsha or from Enugu, they were prevented from voting. I see that as a grave injustice, and no repentance has been done. Nothing has been done to repent for that crime. That was a serious crime in this country, and it has not been addressed. Whenever I think of that incident, I shudder. And those who benefited from that fraud, who benefited from that violence, are comfortable as if things are normal. And I say things are not normal. You don't do that kind of injustice and go to sleep. Nature does not allow that kind of thing. So for me, when that happened, I told myself that nothing good can come out of this kind of situation. I am not surprised about what is happening now in the country, because when you build a superstructure on fraud, that superstructure will soon come crashing down, no matter how long it takes. When what happened in Lagos, it could have happened in several other places, but I watched on TV what happened in Lagos, and it was widely reported. You can see what happened with the next election. With the presidential election, Labour Party won landslide Lagos. Now, what then happened is that people were so intimidated that the other party won landslide during the gubernatorial, because many people who would have voted for Labour Party could not come out. And then that is the election that the kind of papers that they uploaded on IREV, you saw the multiple cancellations and so on and so forth, things that cannot be presented in any serious place as legal document because of the mutilation here and there. That is what was counted and declared by Mahmoud Yakubu, declared to declare Tinubu president. And you think that anything good can really come out of that? I told myself in 2023 that if this fraud lasts for 4 years or 8 years, not much good can come out of it. Wow. Because one, there has not been any repentance. I mean, we are human beings, we can commit crimes, but there needs to be some repentance. There needs to be an acknowledgement that we did something terrible. Nothing, no acknowledgement. And we think we can just keep moving like that. As a religious person, I say no. Unfortunately, we are all suffering in consequence.
Yeah, can I ask you this now? With the level of killing going on in Nigeria now, it's a daily occurrence. I mean, it's not just daily. It happens sometimes simultaneously in 5-4 places, and other. What do you think should be? I mean, clearly the government is sounding almost helpless too, because the new Minister for Defense who came in gung-ho and was boasting, and the new Chief of Defense Staff too, they're now acting like the solution should be diplomatic. The National Security Advisor called them our brothers. One said we have to rehabilitate them, and they are rehabilitating them and all that. People that are killing fellow citizens. What do you think should be the response of the Christians, especially in the Middle Belt? Do you subscribe to them waiting for government to wake up, or do you support those who say they should defend themselves? Because it is getting unbearable. I've interviewed people from Yelwata. There's a gentleman, Frank Otto, and he said that he lives in America here. He said all his family in Benue are all in IDP camps, and they don't even live normally. And he said the military is culpable, that there are times that they attempted to defend themselves, but the army will come and take away their weapons and allow a free reign of these terrorists. So, in your opinion, sir, respectfully I ask this, how do you think the Christians should react? Over to you, sir.
It's a difficult question you have asked, because it's a difficult situation.
I know.
One, Christians, I mean, those of us who really study the life of Christ and try to follow Christ, we are not vengeful people. I can't defend anybody who takes to vengeance. I can't defend, because we are no longer in the jungle. It is in the jungle that people are left to their own resources and the survival of the fittest. This is supposed to be a modern democratic society where people surrender their right to violence. Every individual surrenders his right to violence to government, and government is supposed to protect every one of us. But government has failed for the umpteenth time. And like you said, it is happening every day. So it's a real dilemma. I mean, it will be very odd. Having preached my whole life, I am 68, going to 69. Wow. I have preached my whole life peace. I have preached forgiveness. I've preached compassion all my life. Is it at 68 that I will start preaching violence? So it is still to challenge the government. Or if this thing is really impossible, then I begin to side the people who are saying, then let's divide the country. So that the majority Muslim can have their own and the majority Christian can have their own. Let's go back to the drawing of Gideon Oka, so that the people who want to have Sharia can have their country and have Sharia. I mean, it is unfortunate that even me can begin to say this now, after working for national unity. And I have spent how many years promoting interfaith dialogue, mutual coexistence, mutual understanding. The number of people Luke Stera has trained as champions of civic responsibility, civic participation, interfaith dialogue, from 2012 till today, Luke Stera has been, you can Google it, the number of things we have done towards interfaith dialogue, mutual coexistence, mutual understanding, civic participation. For me to now begin to say, well, if the government, central government cannot protect our lives and our properties, if we have some radical religionists who are determined to institute some jihad, some caliphate, and they are very open about it, and then the soldiers are not able to, I mean, when you have brigadier generals dying at the hands of sleepers wearing bandits, one after the other.
So, I mean, sir, your perspective are very understandable. As a man of faith, you can't encourage violence. I understand that. Also, I mean, it's also hard to tell people that are being killed every day not to defend themselves. So it's very complicated. Also, when the Sharia people, the proponents of Sharia also have never hidden what they wanted. The jihadis have never hidden their style of doing things. So you may also have a fantastic point, say that everybody, Christians should live in one country, Muslims in one country, which goes to my next question, actually. There have been arguments in the past about sovereign national conference, the way Nigeria is structured, and so on and so forth. Do you think, more than any other time in our history, do you think it's actually time to sit down and talk? We're approaching an election in...
We have been talking. We have talked. We have had many conferences. National conference, sovereign national conference, national dialogue. Then we had the 2014 one. There are critical elements. There are contradictions in our constitution that need to be addressed.
How do we rectify all these anomalies? How do we rectify? We can't go on like this. That's why we're having this.
We can't go on. Definitely not go on like this. For example, how can you have one country? We, the Southerners, say that it is a secular state. Okay. That many people in the north who are Muslims say it is not a secular state. They don't use the word secular. They say it's a multi-religious state. But there are fanatical elements among them who want a theocratic state. And they're not hiding it. And they have support. I mean, ISWAP, for example, is for the whole of West Africa. ISIS is a global movement. So you have people who are determined to institute a theocratic state in this country. Now, the problem is, right from the beginning, there were some contradictions. Okay. Ask my people who have lived in northern Nigeria from 1960. They will tell you, can you go and ask for a place to build a church in Kano? How easy is it? Now, because they are seen as they don't belong. All the churches, as I used to know, I don't know what has happened in the last 30 years, all the churches I used to know were just on one street, and they are in one part of town called Sabongeri for visitors. That street is for visitors. That's where you can have your churches. You can't have your churches in our city. So this is the problem, that there are those contradictions. We have in the 1999 Constitution as amended, we have Sharia. We have Sharia courts. We have Sharia appeal courts. You don't have a country where you have religious courts, religious laws, and then you call that country a secular state. Then we belong to OIC, Organization of Islamic Countries. There are people in this country who consider that this is an Islamic country. That okay. I told you that what happened in Lagos in February 2023 put me off in a very bad way. Also, the killing of Deborah in Sokoto hit me very badly. She was killed by her classmates for what they call blasphemy. How can I be killed for something that is an injunction of the other religion that I may not know about? How can somebody who doesn't belong to my religion be guilty of blasphemy of my religion? I mean, this is the greatest injustice, and it happened. What has happened to the people who killed Deborah? What has happened to them? When that thing happened, I lost some of my passion, because it's like, what kind of society are we running that a student will be killed by her classmate for an alleged blasphemy in a country that you call a secular state? And she was killed in the most brutal manner. So we need to, yes, I'm saying a lot of these things have been discussed. We have said a lot of, so we really don't need another national conference. What we need is to be sincere in saying you cannot run a country with these contradictory elements of our living together. You will need to solve it or allow people to go their separate ways. 110 or 20 or 30 million people, that's a lot. There are countries in Africa that are 2 million, that are 5 million, that are 10 million.
Even less.
And some of them are doing very, how many are those Middle Eastern countries, Qatar and Dubai and all, UAE and so, how many are they? Yemen, how many are they? They are doing well.
Gabon, very small population.
One of the most prosperous countries in Africa is Botswana. It's doing very well. How many are they? So the point is, must we be together at the cost of the blood of thousands and thousands of people? I mean, see the number of people that are dying in Nigeria. There are more people dying in Nigeria, as it said, than Ukraine, where there is war.
Absolutely. But let me quickly interject, sir. A quick interjection, because I like your line of thought. Now, I know that in Sudan, for example, in southern Sudan, they are not Muslim, but mostly animists, but partially Christian. Sudan has been divided into two, and there's still no peace in Sudan. Why I'm saying this, that if you look at Nigeria now, I mean, you know the North very well. Zaria is basically a Christendom. It's a lot of people think it's an Islamic enclave. There's no state in the North that doesn't have a very high population of Christians, from Bauchi to Kebbi and everywhere. You understand? Now, if, for example, what you're proposing happened, how do you take care of those people, those KKJ people, those?
Like I said, no. If you go back to the drawing of Gideon Oka,
yes, sir,
there is what they call northwest, and there is the part that is really the problematic part.
Go and look at it. Yeah.
Now, a lot of Borno State, a good portion of Borno State, of Adamawa State, of Taraba State are not majority Muslim.
I know that.
A good part of Kaduna State are not majority Muslim.
I know that. Yeah.
Right up to parts of Bauchi that are not majority Muslim. So the point is that what they call the core north. You are talking of Sokoto and Katsina and Zamfara and Kano and Jigawa and parts of and Yobe and parts of Borno and so on and so forth. Those are the problematic places. So the rest, which is the majority of the north, they are not majority Muslim. Most of them are Christian. So the point is that we have serious challenges. And the British did not help matters, because the collocation of groups in northern Nigeria that you now call the North, as if they are all Hausa and Fulani and Muslims, it is a fraud. Because look at the various tribes. I mean, look at Benue State, for example. It's called North. But Benue is what? It's 80-90% Christian. Look at Taraba State, it's called North. Look at Adamawa State, it's called North. But because of the injustices that have been inherent in the North, many of those places, you don't have Christians as their leaders, even if Christians are the majority. Now, take Plateau State and Kaduna State and look at parts of Bauchi State. Most of those places are Christian. So when we are talking of last resort, because dividing the country will be my own last resort. I have been working for the unity of this country for many years. I should be the last to. But then if tens of thousands of people are dying every day, I was away for 2 weeks in the US, as you know. Yes. But see the number of people that died around Easter time. So in the 2 weeks, see the number of people have died, including Army General. These killings have been on in this intensive manner since 2009. Are we to continue like this? If the leadership cannot do something about it, then human beings have an instinct to live. So if they cannot be protected, for God's sake, they should be allowed to live. They should be allowed to form their own countries. Now, the point is for those who lead this country to have the courage to address these issues. Right now,
that was going to be my last question to you. So you must
okay.
let me phrase it. What's your advice to the leadership of Nigeria today? That's my last question. What do you
Unfortunately, we have a bunch of people who are selfish and self-serving at various levels of leadership in this country. Many of them, and I'm not saying all, selfish, self-serving, that it is not the common good that is their concern. It is lining their pockets, it is having power, it is having money, and so on. And they will betray their people and allow thousands of their people to die rather than go and discuss seriously about the survival of this country and about the security of the people. The point is we need to work towards a leadership that people will be ready to sacrifice themselves for their people, for the security of their people, to go to discuss about how do we face this thing. My people are dying in tens and 20s and hundreds. We cannot continue like this. There are historical antecedents to the things that are happening today. Let's face it. Mm-hmm. If the people of the Middle Belt who were not conquered fully at the 1804 jihad of Ottoman Danfodio, there are people who believe that what is happening today is an effort by some unscrupulous elements to finish that jihad. Mm. Now, many may not agree, but there is a connection. Mm. Now, why would villages be sacked, people killed, and some of those villages be renamed? I don't know if you have heard that.
Yes, I know.
Some of those villages occupied by others and renamed, one after the other. Now, why would people, if we have serious people in government, why would there be people spending 10 years in IDP, in internally displaced camp? 10 years. They cannot go back to their villages. There are parts of Benue. There are parts of Plateau. And now we are beginning to have parts of Kwara where the entire village is sacked. No human being in those villages. And then all those who, they cannot go to their farms, they are in IDP camps. This situation cannot sustain. Nature does not permit this kind of situation to sustain. It is unsustainable. So if we really had leaders, rather than all the bickering and decamping from one party to the other, playing musical chairs, what all those who are in the houses of assembly, governors, local government chairmen, all those who are ministers, what they are supposed to be daily preoccupied with is how do we have security in this country? Can this country sustain as one country in the face of all this banditry, in the face of all this jihadist insurgency? Can it sustain as one country? What do we do? This is what's supposed to preoccupy them, but this is not their preoccupation. Even the president is preoccupied with how to get all the states, get the governors to the camp, to APC, and every day he's welcoming new decampees and so on and so forth. Which place have we had mass abductions and mass killings that the president has seriously visited? No. The president recently visited Jos and stayed in the airport and asked people who have lost their children and their parents to come and meet him in the airport to tell their stories. That is the terrible insult. When he was supposed to go to Yelwata, he stopped at a conference center in Makode. He didn't go to Yelwata. So we have a situation where even when 200 people die, 100 people die, 200 people abducted, 300 people, the one that happened in Niger State, almost 300 children abducted from a school. Did the president visit? The minimum that is expected of the president of a country when such tragedies occur is that the president will go on a condolence visit. The president of this country, what is important for him are these decampees and how to secure a re-election in 2027. This is what is happening, and it is unfortunate. So for me, we are not about to get out of this problem, unfortunately, for now. And the Nigerian citizens should consider seriously do we really want to be one country, or should we start campaigning for something else? Because if we carry this to 2027 election and it is business as usual, then it is unfortunate. I mean, I really think it is sad. I mean, I've lived for 68 years, and I am beginning to get exhausted. I must tell you the truth, Ade. I am getting exhausted. And I just pray that the good Lord will raise up young people who will continue this fight and secure freedom for themselves. Because quite frankly, the situation is terribly exhausting. For the last few months, I have not really appeared on any of the regular television programs apart from my own small program, because it's like I don't have something good to say. Now, that doesn't mean I don't have hope. I am a Christian. I sell hope. So I have hope. But in the meantime, the indications are not very good. In the immediate future, the indications are not very good. Nigerians need to literally rise up to say enough is enough. I am not a purveyor of violence, but okay, some people are afraid of dying, but we are dying anyway.
Absolutely.
Go and demonstrate at the National Conference Center. Go and demonstrate. They are afraid of dying, but we are dying anyway. On a daily basis, we are dying. When a brigadier general can be killed senselessly, and you know what happens? Sometimes we are not even told. It is social media that tells us. The government does not make any announcement. It is from social media we get to know that some of these brigadier generals are killed, which is sad. And then when a brigadier, there are a lot of people of the lower ranks, other ranks, that are dying every day that Nigerians are not even told, which is such an injustice. But this is where we are: no respect for life, no regard for human life. All that they are concerned about is money and power. And I just pray that their eyes may soon be open, their hearts may soon be open, because what is happening in this country, I think a lot of people are going to give account to God. I know that God is watching, and those who are responsible for this, whether they are sponsors of Boko Haram, sponsors of bandits, you know that, is it UAE that gave Nigeria names of sponsors of Boko Haram till today? Have we been given those names? No. I mean, meaning that we have leaders who have names of people that are partly responsible for all this mess, and they are being protected. We are told that there are people in government who are involved, sympathizers. Each time a general is killed in the battlefront by these bandits, we are told that it is some conspiracy. We are told that they were ambushed and killed. Some intelligence has leaked to the enemy. Now, how can we continue like that? Recently, the military command began to complain that Igbos are not filling their slots in the Nigerian army. How can they? They don't trust. They don't trust that you are not going to give them to the enemy to be killed. That's why Igbos are not enlisting in the army, because the army as presently constituted is suspect. The military forces, they are suspect, because it appears that we have moles within the forces that are giving information to the enemy. How can we run such a country? So I will end by saying those who are preparing for 2027 elections, the leadership, the APC, and the opposition parties, let everybody recognize that it is not business as usual. Let everybody recognize that Nigerians cannot continue to take this nonsense, that the situation will give. If you do not change your course, it is said, you will end up where you are headed. So whereas I'm a preacher of peace, I don't preach violence, I don't preach vengeance, but I know that if you do not change your course, you will end up where you are headed. Where we are headed is not a good place. So whether it is the government in power or the opposition, we must all convince ourselves that the time for a radical change is here, that the people themselves, the people who collect bag of rice and vote the wrong people, we must all be convinced that the time for change is here. Otherwise, we will end up where we are headed. And I don't think we have too many years more. Let me stop there.
Thank you very much, sir. I have nothing more to add. It's a wrap there. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, Father George Ehusani, for your time. Thank you for your patriotism. God bless you always. Thank you. Bye.
God bless.